This is the EdExcel GCSE 91 Maths Foundation Paper 3 from the November 2024 series, and this paper is a calculator paper. Question number 1. We have to write down the value of the 7 in the number 3721. Well, the value of the 7 is 700. Question number 2. We have to work out 1/6 of 96. This is the same as 96 divided by 6, which is equal to 16. Question number 3. Write down two factors of 16. These are two numbers which multiply together to give 16. For example, 2 and 8, which multiply to give 16, are factors of 16. Question number 5. Find the value of the square root of 2.25. Using our calculator, the square root of 2.25 is equal to 1.5. Question number 6. Part A. Solve x plus x plus x plus x equals 20. Altogether, on the left hand side we have 4x, and this is equal to 20. To find out what x is, we need to divide both sides by 4. You will therefore find x to equal 20 divided by 4, which is 5. Part B. Solve y plus 7 equals 24. To get y by itself, we need to take away 7 from both sides, and in doing so, you will find y to equal 17. Part C. We have to solve w over 2 equals 4. If we multiply both sides by 2, then you will find w to equal 4 times by 2, which is 8. Question number 7. Here is a quadrilateral. Part A. Write down the special name for this quadrilateral. Well, we have 4 sides, so that's a quadrilateral, and 2 of the sides are parallel to each other. That's this side and this side. Therefore, we have a trapezium. Part B. On the grid below, draw a right-angled triangle. If we draw a right-angled triangle, we could have, for example, something looking like this. And here is where the right angle goes. Question number 8. Nina orders some items from a DIY shop. Here is her bill. Part A. Complete all the missing information in the bill. Well, we've got parts of screws, tin of paint and wooden plank, which are our items. We've got the quantity, the cost of each item, and then the total. So what we can do is find out the total for tin of paint. That's 2 times by 24.95. So let's work this out. We have 2 multiplied by 24.95, which is £49.90. For wooden plank, if we know the cost of each item and the total cost of all those wooden planks, we can find out how many wooden planks we have. That will be 232.50 divided by 775, which is equal to 30. To find out the total cost, I need to add all these together. So we have 119.96 plus 49.90 plus 232.50, and then we've also got the delivery charge of 14.95, and it turns out the total cost is £400 and £17.31. At the beginning of January, Jeff had £892.48 in his bank account. During January, Jeff had £4.47 interest added to his account, paid £240 into his account, spent £365.50 from his account. How much money did Jeff have in his account at the end of January? So we've got this £892.48 that we added £4.47 of interest, then £240 is what we paid, and then we spend £365.50. So let's work all of this out. We have 892.48 plus 447 plus 240, take away 365.50. What we're left over with is £771.45. Question number 9. There are 200 people at a party. 2/5 of the people are children. The rest of the people are adults. 35% of the children are vegetarian. 45% of the adults are vegetarian. How many of the people are not vegetarian? So, what we have is 2/5 being children. So if I work out 2/5 of 200, that's 80. So here we have 80 children. So the number of adults we would have is 200 take away 80, which is equal to 120. So we have 120 adults. Then we know that 35% of the children are vegetarian, so that means 65% of them will not be vegetarian. So 65% of 80 will be the children who are not vegetarian, so we've got 0.65 times 80, which is 52. If 45% of the adults are vegetarian, that means 55% of the 120 adults will be not vegetarian. So we have 0.55 times 120, which is 66. So therefore, not vegetarian equals 52 plus 66, which is 118. Question number 10. Here is part of a train timetable between Horwich and Manchester. Part A. How long should the 7:46 train from Horwich take to get to Salford? So we are going from Horwich to Salford. So we are going from 7:46 to 8:05. Well, if I add on 14 minutes, that gets me to 8 o'clock, plus another 5 minutes. That's 19 minutes in total. Barney has a job interview in Manchester. Barney takes 6 minutes to walk from his home to the station in Lostock. He will take 8 minutes to walk from the station in Manchester to his interview. Barney needs to be at the interview no later than 9 o'clock. For the first part of part B, what is the latest time Barney can leave his house and be on time for the interview? So, he needs to be at the interview at 9 o'clock. And it takes him 8 minutes to walk, so if I take away 8 minutes from 9 o'clock, I get 8:52. So this 8:52 is where the station is. So which train would he arrive at 8:52? Well, Manchester, there is no 8:52, but the one closest to that is 8:45. So we consider 8:45 instead. And what we also know is he lives in Lostock. So 8:45. Lostock is where his home is. And the train leaves from Lostock to Manchester at 8:17. So we have 8:17, which is where his home station is. So that's the time he needs to arrive at the station in Lostock. And then he takes 6 minutes to walk, meaning if he sets off at 8:11, he'd get there by 9 o'clock. So we have 8:11. The time of Barney's interview is changed. He now has to be at the interview no later than 9:15. What effect does the change of time have on the latest time Barney can leave his house? Well, there'll be no effect because he can still catch the same train. So there's no effect as he can catch the same train. Question number 11. You can use this graph to change between miles and kilometers. Part A, change 10 miles to kilometers. So 10 miles, that is over here. And if I draw a line down, we get 16. So that's 16 kilometers. Part B, Rob drives 17 miles from Bridlington to Scarborough. He then drives 50 kilometers from Scarborough to Staithes. Part B, what is the total distance Rob drives? Give your answer in miles. So what we need to do is convert a value of 50 kilometers to miles. So what we can do first of all is find out what 10 miles is. And you'd find 10 miles to equal 6.2 miles. So this is 6.25 miles. So if 50 kilometers equals, rather if 5 kilometers equals 6.25 miles, that means 50 kilometers will if 10 kilometers equals 6.25 miles, 50 kilometers, what we can do is multiply 6.25 by 5, which gets us 31.25 miles. So therefore, for the total, that's going to equal 17 plus 31.25. So if I add on 17, we get 48.25 miles. Question number 12. A shop sells apples and oranges. There are 6 apples in each pack of apples. There are 7 oranges in each bag of oranges. The shop sells X packs of apples and Y bags of oranges. We have to write an expression in terms of X and Y for the total number of apples and oranges the shop sells. So if we've got X packs and we've got 6 apples in each pack, for apples we would have 6X in total. And if we've got 7 oranges in each bag and we've got Y bags, that means we've got 7Y oranges in total. So for the total number of apples and oranges, we've got 6X plus 7y. Question number 13. The diagram shows a crate and a box. The crate is 3 meters by 1 meter by 1.5 meters. The crate is completely filled with boxes. Each box is 20 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 75 centimeters. We have to work out the number of boxes in the crate. We can do this by converting everything into centimeters. Meters to centimeters we times by 100. So here we've got 300 centimeters. 1 meter is 100 centimeters and 1.5 meters is 150 centimeters. Now for the length, which is this, we can find out how many 20 centimeters go into 300 centimeters. So if I do 300 divided by 20, that's equal to 15. So here we've got 15 boxes lengthways. For the width, we can do 100 divided by 10, which is 10. So we've got 10 boxes this way. And for the height, we'd have 150 divided by 75, which is 2. So we've got 2 boxes this way. So to work out the total number of boxes, that will be 15 times by 10 times by 2, and if we work this out we get 300. So there's 300 boxes. Question number 14. Harry works in a shop. From Monday to Friday his basic rate of pay is £8 per hour. On Saturday and Sunday Harry's rate of pay is 1.5 times his basic rate of pay. The table shows the number of hours Harry worked each day last week. We have to work out Harry's total pay last week. So if we create a new row for pay, we have £8 per hour from Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sunday we have 1.5 times 8. So let's work this out. We have 1.5 times by 8, which is 12. So here we get paid 12. Now let's multiply these together to work out how much is paid each day. So each day, 6 times by 8 is 48. So we've got 48 on Monday to Friday. And then on Saturday, we've got 4 times by 12, which is also 48. And then 3 times by 12, that's 36. So if we work out the total, well, we've got 6 times by 48 plus 36. So I've got 48 times by 6 plus 36. We get a total of £324. Question number 15. The table gives information about the ages of 41 children in Blackrod Football Club. We have to work out the mean age to 1 decimal place. So what we need to do is multiply the age by the frequency, add them all together, and then divide by how many number of pieces of data we've got. So if we call this X and this F, here we've got to work out Fx and then work out the total of Fx. So 8 times by 6 is 48. 9 times 7 is 63, 10 times 15 is 150, 11 times 11 is 121, 12 times by 2 is 24. So let's add all these together. We've got 48 plus 63 plus 150 plus 121 plus 24. It turns out we get 406. And we've got 41 children altogether. So therefore the mean is equal to 406 divided by 41. So if we divide this by 41, we get 9.902. So to one decimal place, we would have 9.9. Part B, Rohan is working out the modal range of the children in Blackford Football Club. He says the highest frequency is 15, so the modal age is 15. Is Rohan correct? Give a reason for your answer. So if we go back here, we've got to look at the highest frequency. The highest frequency is 15, which corresponds to the age of 10. So the mode is 10 years old, which means Rohan is incorrect. Question number 16, part A. Write 126 as the product of its prime factors. So if I think about the 126, I can split this up into two numbers. We've got 63 and 2. 63 is not a prime number, but 2 is. So the 63 we can further split up into 3 times by 21. 3 is a prime number, 21 isn't. So the 21 we can split up further into 3 times by 7. 3 is a prime number, so in 7. So therefore, 126 equals 2 times by 3 times by 3 times by 7. Or we could have 2 times by 3 squared times by 7. For part B, we have to find the highest common factor of 126 and 210. Well, the 210, let's split that up. We can split that up into 21 times by 10. These aren't prime numbers, so these we can further split up as 3 times by 7 and 2 times by 5. Which means 210 is equal to 2 times by 3 times by 5 times by 7. So when we come to look at the highest common factor, you can see the 2 is common to both. We've got this 3 which is common to both. And we also have this 7 which is common to both. So therefore the highest common factor equals 2 times by 3 times by 7, which is equal to 42. Question number 17. The table shows information about the time in minutes 100 people took to complete a bike race. That's what we see here. We have to draw a frequency polygram for this information. So what we need to do is show the midpoints. So the midpoint here is 130, the midpoint here is 150, midpoint here is 170, midpoint here is 190, and midpoint here is 210. So we plot these with the frequency. So 130, then 12, that is over here. Then we've got 150, 28, so 150, 28, 170, 30, so 170, 30 is here, 190, 22, 190, 22 is here, and 210 and 8, that is over here. And then we join these up with a straight line. As so. So here is our frequency polygon. Question number 18. Part A. Write 3.402 times 10 to the 5 as an ordinary number. So we've got this 3.402, and what I have to do is move the decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And then we fill these up with zeros, and what we'd be left with then is 34020. Part B, we have to write 0.8026 in standard form. So I've got this 0.8026, and remember, for standard form, that's when a number is written as a times by 10 to the n, where a is in between 1 and 10. So here I have to move the decimal place 1 unit to the right, so we end up with 8.026 times 10 to the negative 1. Question number 19. Use ruler and compass to construct the bisector of angle ABC. You must show your construction lines. So let's draw one arc like so and another one, and then what we'll do is we'll join this point up to here and this point up to here, and then the bisector will pass through this point here as shown here. Question number 20. Dan is playing cards. The probability that he will win a game of cards is 0.3. Dan played 2 games of cards. Complete the probability tree diagram. So the probability of him winning is 0.3, so the probability of him losing will be 0.7. So the probability of winning and losing is 0.7. So let's finish that off. Now for part B, we have to work out the probability that Dan does not win either game. So that means he loses twice. So he loses, then he loses. So that probability is 0.7 times 0.7, which is 0.49. Question number 21. Robin buys a total of 240 pens and pencils, where the number of pens to the number of pencils is equal to 3 to 5. Robin pays 9p for each pen. She sells each pen for 11p. Robin pays 6p for each pencil. She sells each pencil for 10p. Robin sells all of the pens and pencils. We have to work out Robin's percentage profit. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. You must show all your working. What we can do is find out how many pens and pencils we have in total. If we've got this ratio 3 to 5, if I do 3 plus 5, which is 8, that tells me I've got 8 parts. And if I do 240 divided by 8, that means I get 30. So I have 30 per part. So for the number of pens, that's equal to 3 times by 30, which is 90. And for the number of pencils, that's equal to 5 times by 30, which is 150. Now, if we take a look at the total amount we buy for pens and pencils, for buy, that's 9p for each pen, and we've got 90 pens, so 90 times by 9p, that's £8.10. And for pencils, 6p per pencil, we've got 150 of them, so 150 times by 6p, that's £9. So for what we sell, we sell each pen for 11p, so 90 times by 11, that is £9.90, and we sell each pencil for 10p, we've got 150 of them, so that is going to be 10p times 150, which is £15. So in total, £8.10 plus £9, that's equal to £17.10, and for what we sell, 15 plus £9.90, that's equal to £24.90. So the percentage profit will equal £24.90 subtract £17.10 over £17.10 times 100. So if we work this out using our calculator, we have £24.90 take away £17.10 over £17.10 and then times by 100, we get 45.6%. Question number 22. The stem and leaf diagram shows the test scores of 23 students from School A. 23 students from School B did the same test. Their median score was 56. The range of their scores was 47. Compare the distribution of the test scores of the students from School A with the distribution of the test scores of the students from School B. Well, we are given for School B the median and the range, and with this stem and leaf diagram we can do the same thing with School A. To work out the median, let's count from either side. So we cross these out. As so. So here the median equals 57, and for the range that's equal to the biggest number, which is 79, take away the smallest number, which is 30, so the range is 49. So now we can compare. So the students at A scored more than the test on average as their median was higher, and the scores of the students at A were less spread out as their range was smaller. Question number 23. Joanna used her calculator to find a value of a number t. Her answer on her calculator began 10.2. We have to complete the error interval for t. Well, if the answer began with 10.2, that means we'd have t which is greater than or equal to 10.2 but less than 10.3. Can't include the 10.3 because it starts off with 10.2. Question number 24. ABC is a right angle triangle. We have to calculate the length of AB to one decimal place. So here we've got the adjacent. AB is the opposite. What connects those is tan. So we've got the tan of 62 equals opposite over adjacent. So we've got opposite, which is AB, over the adjacent, which is 7.6. So therefore AB equals 7.6 times by the tan of 62. So we've got 7.6 times by the tan of 62. Let's make sure our calculator is in degrees, which is 14.3 to one decimal place. Question number 25, part A. We have to simplify fully 2x cubed y to the 5 times 7x squared y. Well, y is the same as y to the power of 1. So here 2 times by 7, that's 14. Then we've got x to the power of, now here we add the powers because we're timesing, so we've got 3 plus 2. Then we've got y to the power of 5 plus this 1. So we've got 14x to the 5, y to the power of 6. Now for part B, we have to simplify m squared to the power of minus 3. Here we have to multiply the powers. So we've got m to the power of 2 times by minus 3. So that's m to the power of minus 6. Question number 26. Peter invests £4,500 in a savings account for 3 years. He gets 1.8% per year compound interest. We have to work out the total amount of interest Peter gets. So let's see what he gets at the end of 3 years. So we've got 4,500 times by 1.018, which is the interest rate. And we're investing for 3 years, so we raise this to the power of 3. So let's work this out. We have 4,500 times by 1.018 to the power of 3, which is 4747.40. So therefore the interest equals 4747.40, take away 4500, which is 247.40. Question number 27. Line L is drawn on the grid. We have to find the equation for line L. First of all, you can see here that the y-intercept equals 3. And we can also work out the gradient. The gradient is change in y over change in x. So if I pick 2 points, for example this one and this one, you can see that the change in y, we're going from 1 to negative 1, so that's minus 2. And we got a change in x of 1. So the gradient equals minus 2 divided by 1, which is minus 2. So the equation of the line will be y equals minus 2x plus 3.